I've been out all day, so I haven't done any videos or anything, so get going. But I'm doing a quick live here, not long, because there's a lot of shit to address in the last few hours. Trump's back in the United States, wanting to put Joe Biden in jail. I can't make this shit up. But the biggest thing we need to talk about is the government, is the shutdown, and that the Republican Party has decided that no one can eat if you're poor. Now, it's not just poor. Let's talk about SNAP benefits real quick. Okay. That's for the working poor. Okay. Food stamps, SNAP benefits, that's been around for decades. Okay. Since you're, there's no pausing this. Hold on. My apologies. Technical difficulties. Seems you're an idiot. But no one's getting their SNAP benefits, although there are contingency funds in there. And as I said before, SNAP's been around forever, for decades. If you're young enough, you remember the booklets that people would have to show for food stamps or with, or, you know, and then they'd be run through as cash. They went to the electronics because, you know, if there was people selling those. It was a controversy. But what you're seeing on the reaction to what's going on, the lack of empathy that I see from the majority of a lot of people is disconcerting. My God, what happened to you people? Have you never had a bad time? Has your life never gotten to a point you needed help? If it hasn't, congratulations. But for you to denigrate other people that may be there and they're really worried is sad. And it's just the product of the Trump administration, the Trump period in American history, as a lack of empathy. Because the people who feel that way don't care about anything but themselves. And narcissism works for them. Narcissism is their blood. It's kind of a sad thing. And then they attach Christianity to their name, you're not Christian. Never read a word about Jesus. You don't, you don't truly believe in Christianity, you believe in Trump. Trump is your God. End discussion, period. I mean, anything else is a lie to you. You're lying to yourself. I've been here living in the South for the last 15 years. And I'm going to tell you a story. And this is going to be to all my folk out there, forgive me, an R-rated story. Okay? R-rated. So you cannot drive here in Georgia, where I live, or any part of Georgia, no more than a mile and a half to run into a church. Everywhere. They're everywhere. Doesn't matter what denomination, they're everywhere. I would guess in my area, maybe up to 30 churches in my area, big and small, including a huge Catholic church about 10 miles away. So we've known about the Bible Belt, this so-called moral majority bullshit. But let me tell you how people in the South operate. So when I first got here in the South after the Great Recession, I couldn't find a job. And most of the hourly paying jobs were bullshit. So I got a job selling cars. They don't give a fuck. Honestly, they'll take anybody. Truth. They'll vet your ass. They know. They do a drug test. Even if you failed it, they'll still take you. So that's what I did for a while. It's okay on it. Made some money, kept my family fed. But and with the great, just I'll come back to the Great Recession in a few minutes. But as want to do with car salesmen, you stand at whatever parking lot or meeting area, waiting for people to come in, and you bullshit. And I'll never forget listening to these guys talk about their parties, the drugs, the drinking. Okay, one of the managers was saying a party that he had, it got so bad that two people literally OD'd, and his remark was he pointed at the people who just collapsed and said, "Get these MFers out of here. I don't want them dying on my rug." And I'm standing there, someone who lived in Southern California, Sodom and Gomorrah by everyone else's interpretation, since their capital where pornography comes from, the worst place in the world to live, all those sinners. And I'm listening to those stories, and I'm just standing there and looking at them. And honestly, they look at you and they go, "Well, what's up? What's your," because I was like staring at them and I go, "I'm from Southern California, okay? And you people are the sickest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. And then you go to church on Sunday." And they say, "Yeah, we go to church on Sunday, hungover." So that tells you everything about MAGA and those people who are are beating their chest about snap ending and with joy or denigrating the poor. They think that on Sunday, after they commit these heinous sins, that God's going to forgive them and they can go have lunch at Cracker Barrel after service. Don't work like that. Don't work like that. Consistency is what Christianity is about. Believing your beliefs, doing what Jesus wanted us to do, which was welcome a stranger, feed the poor, be humble. I mean, the one thing about I hate is that I see these people all the time standing on the street corners, Jesus. No offense, okay, but even Jesus says that if you flaunt your religion, you're not religious, okay. And through all this, I've heard a lot of churches, a lot of people trying to donate to food banks. Because let's be clear right now, a lot of federal workers aren't working, so they don't have money, so they're going to go to food banks. All of a sudden, just before Christmas, Amazon, Paramount, all these companies are laying off thousands of workers. Thousands of workers. Why? It's the end of the third quarter, guys, and you got to make those profit margins. And some have been mergers like Paramount. But those people, unless they can land a job, good luck, are going to be looking for help. And just so you know, I've been there. I've been on assistance and food stamps and unemployment. And those services helped me get back on my feet so I can rebuild. I don't give a fuck that my tax money goes to that because I have used that tax money. Story again, when I first applied for benefits in Los Angeles County, it was the worst experience of my life. And I was upset. And the lady behind the bulletproof glass looked at me and said, "Why are you upset?" And I told her, "Never be here." She looked at me, "Did you pay your taxes?" I go, "Yeah, this is your money. This is your money, honey. You'll be okay. Here you go." That was an empathetic human being. Okay. She acknowledged that I had gone there for help, not judgment, help. And that's the one thing I see about all you people. You are judging others. And that is not your place or right. Period. There's a lot of you motherfuckers who one lost job away from being there and desperate. Because that's the thing, desperation. The problem with what's going on right now, a lot of these people think that desperation will be easy to control the population. Doesn't work like that. Two of the biggest revolutions in world history. I don't count the American Revolution. That wasn't about economic. That was a different thing. That was about government change. That was a different revolution. It wasn't about getting back at the rich. The French Revolution and the Russian Revolution were economic revolutions. Okay. The Russian Revolution, the Romanovs, the Tsars, the serf system. Finally, people had it because they could not make a living because you kept sucking it from them. And what happened? They rose up. Before Lenin and his goons took over, that was a true revolution. Were moving to democracy. They were trying. We saw what happened in history. Look it up. Okay, just read history. Some of y'all. What happened to the Romanovs? Basement. And there is no that whole Anastasia bullshit. Nah, she ended up in the basement with the rest of the family. That's where tyrants go. Back up. French Revolution. Same thing. No food. No access to food. Nothing. And what happened? The guillotine. Because you cannot, desperation does not mean control. What desperation means is I have nothing to lose, so I'm going to try anything now to get back. So all you people out there judging others, look in the mirror, you dumb fucks. Which brings us to other things that are coming on. Trump's back in the U.S. He fired the entire panel that is designed to manage the monuments in Washington, D.C., whether they can be, if they need to be refurbished, any other monuments. Fired all 6 of them. Why? Why did he fire all 6 of them? Because he said he doesn't meet Trump's America First agenda. Their job is to maintain the Capitol monuments. This is because they're going to start breaking down stuff. Already talking about removing the Jefferson Memorial. What the hell for? Don't get it. See, Hunter said, how about countries in Mexico where wealth is concentrated? That's how the revolution, the debt penation system, it does, but it has changed. Under the PRI, yes, I agree. But it's a lot better, or you wouldn't have the president you have now. All right. I'm not saying you don't have problems, but compared to what we're looking at now, compared to America, now, all right. There is a class system. And the thing about America, the class system never has been spoken of. Now it's out in the open. And the oligarchs are in charge. And they're basically using us, each one of us, as their own service. But I want to jump on a couple of things here. Trump did have a loss in court. I'm not going to talk about the Attorney General of California. That's bullshit. That's not going to be a big thing. That's just a Trump fucker, not qualified getting thrown out by the court. See here, Hunter says, country sufficient growth due to that, but the rich don't care as long as they maintain their power. True. That's why they're freaking out over Mondani. Because Mondani is asking for a 2% tax increase to do all these things, and the rich don't want to give it up because that will empower the middle class. It would give the middle class a way to empower themselves, to be more than just waiting for crumbs from the rich, begging them. They hate that. That's why he's going to win in a landslide. That's why right now in that election, the last few days have been nothing but anti-Islamic bullshit. He is not that. We know that. I know that. And it's not going to win. And by the way, add um, any Muslim to Andrew Cuomo's resume, including to be sexual predator and a Trump pumper. Okay, that's what we got. Let's see what else. Well, the one court decision that I think is very, very good that turned against Trump was the Ninth Circuit Court has vacated their order to let Trump use national law in Portland because the court found out that the evidence they used, the video that DHS sent, were false. False evidence showing that there's a violence in Portland. It's not working. So the whole court's going to hear it. So Trump's probably going to go down on that. He's going to flip out on that. Meanwhile, he's back in the U.S. touting that he made all kinds of trade deals when he was in the Far East. He didn't do shit. Okay. First of all, I live in Georgia. By the way, the state of Georgia is sitting on a $13 billion fucking reserve. And Democrats here in Georgia have asked the governor Kemp, who is in Japan and Korea, hey, just release some of that to cover the 1.3 million people who are going to be without food in a couple of days. He said, go fuck yourselves. He used the usual, we don't know we're going to get paid. It's not might be legal. Bullshit, dude. You're a Republican and you're a lame duck governor. Don't give a fuck. You're over there kissing up to the Japanese and kissing up to the Koreans because you lost the Hyundai plant. You lost the Hyundai plant because you did not control your own people. And they're not coming back. $500 billion down the sewer. I don't care if we got $13 billion in a surplus. You know why you got $13 billion on a surplus? Because they don't pay for services here in this country, in this state. They hold it like fat dragons holding coin. So anyway, that's that. That's just a tidbit of what we do here in the South. Why voting for a Republican, as I always say, is to court death. Remember, there are 3 elections coming up. New Jersey. If you vote a Republican governor in New Jersey, you deserve what you get. Looks like Virginia brought a Democratic governor because the lieutenant governor was a Republican candidate. It's just crazy. That woman's nuts. Looks like New Jersey will be closer. And New York looks like it's going to go. So Mondani's way. So there's some pluses there. But here's things I want to bring up real quick that's on the background coming up for all of us. We're going to revisit same-sex marriage in the Supreme Court. That's going to go the way of the dodo. I am telling you, I don't want to say this, but they're going to overturn the precedent. And they're going to turn it back to the states. And look for states to not only annul marriages, but do what they did with Roe v. Wade and make any kind of gay activity illegal, like they did in the old days. The vice squads did a lot of just arresting gay men and gay women because it was a violation of code. I mean, if you look at the movie, what was it? Joseph Wambach's, one of Joseph Wambach's books about the LAPD. He was on one of the characters of a vice squad, and their only job was to arrest men who were looking for sex in bathrooms and other places. That was their job. It was sad. And that's where they're going to go back to. Don't buy this bullshit that the states should do it, because that's a step to getting rid of not only same-sex marriages, interracial marriages, which a lot of people have said. And the next thing they're going after is Brown versus the Board of Education. As you know, that precedent said that you couldn't have separate but equal. They never were equal. You couldn't have separate, equal schools for students based on color. That ended that. But already Clarence Thomas has already made words about that. And then today, J.D. Vance got on some kind of podcast this. He he advocated for separation of races in real estate, schools, all of it. Because he said she shouldn't have to live next to another family who has like 20 people in the house. Oh, racist much, JD? What are you talking about? Just legalize redlining? I mean, I'm Hispanic. All my neighbors, majority are white. They didn't care. I bought my house from an Asian lady who was my real estate agent. And this is what he's thinking. This is what they're thinking. And the Supreme Court may leap on that. When this ends, it's going to be a bitch to get back to any kind of normalcy. Because he just said that Jim Crow is okay. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Ah, and Hunter, no, it wouldn't matter because Grinder will go underground. They're talking about marriage. Activity is different than marriage. You know what I'm saying? They don't want the states to sanction marriage and acknowledge that same-sex people have any kind of rights, like you and I, or your life, my life, or couples. This is an abomination to them. It's disgusting overall. So, like I said, I'm not going to do too long here. I'm going to go to 10 o'clock because, like I said, I've had a long day and a lot of things to contemplate. Um, this one's so much. These people do so much so quickly. They overwhelm us. ICE has gotten worse. I just saw a video of a mother being basically arrested by her 16-year-old daughter screaming mom's name because the woman couldn't recite her social security number. Thing they just jumped her. Fuck. And it's getting. I mean, they're getting worse. And now Trump wants to test nuclear weapons. Why? See, they're playing in a fantasy world that doesn't exist. Excuse the camera because I'm just doing this, so forgive me. It ain't gonna be perfect, so forgive me. But I keep thinking, what are they doing here? I keep thinking back to all the years of Fox News. Go back all the years, all the controversies, all the things they brought about race, economics, military. These all false narratives they have fed the public for years. They're now in power, and they're trying to create these false narratives. You know, the crime in inner city, the blood on the streets in Chicago and New York, um, the welfare mothers, which is bullshit. Everyone's against us. If we build everything Americans want, a whole bunch of bullshit that we know is not going to work. But this was because we thought it was a joke. This joke's on us now because we are living in that fantasy world and they're doing what they can to create it. Doesn't mean a lot of people are going to suffer. Oh, quick side note. Farmers, Trump didn't cut a deal for your soybeans. China. The Chinese laughed at him. Yeah, sure. You will buy your soybeans. Sure. hmm Now farmers are saying, see, he's going to save us. Yeah. When are they buying soybeans, bro? You had contracts months ago. They're gone. They bought those from Argentina. Next crop, what are you doing this crop? How are you going to pay your bills in the next crop? How do you know they did it? They ain't do it. There's nothing in writing. There shouldn't be anything in writing. You shouldn't have a closed market. Trump did that to you. And they blame Biden for everything, blame Obama for everything. Oh, yeah. That James Comey with the auto pen. Fuck you. I mean, I know they may use Jake Tapper's book as saying something about Biden's cognitive, but no, there's no there there. Now, it doesn't mean that China will buy soybeans. You're right, Vincent. Johnny, no. It was just them saying, tell Trump, and Trump is a toddler. And you see that when he doesn't meet, he doesn't meet other leaders like normal leaders. Basically, we need as you do a little military thing at the airport, then you go and do your negotiations. Trump also always he has to meet the emperor of Japan. He's got to see all the gold. He's got to see all the pomps and circumstance. They know this, and they play his little kid ass. Literally, he is a 2-year-old toddler looking, no, 6 or 5-year-old toddler looking for the shiny things. He's always looking for affirmation. They love him. No, they hate your ass, dude. I saw how the Chinese premier president tried to shake your hand. He wanted you away from him. Because you keep hanging on to people. You shake your hand, you stand there, you don't put your arm up to people, you don't keep touching them. I could see his face. Get this off me. And what did they do behind closed doors? They praise him. They make him feel big. And they laugh behind his back. If you want any other proof why we are in the place we are right now with the world, look what happened to Mike Waltz today at the Mike Waltz, the former national security advisor who got fired over the Iran thing. They dumped him because of the signal thing. He was at the UN talking shit about all the countries. Only America do this. All America has the best, this and that. And the Cuban delegate rose to a point of order, which can. And basically, Mike Waltz tried to ignore him, and the chair said no. And the Cuban representative went off, basically called him a liar, and called out Mike Waltz's signal check. We have no fucking respect in the world. It only took less than a year to destroy everything that America had worked for decades for, to make the world less safe than it is now. Oh, by the way, that peace agreement is dead. It's dead. He's done. It's finished. And even the Industrial 1-2 come on short. Honestly, Holdner is, I don't know. I'm going to say they might take it in 7, cancel what Yamamoto does tomorrow, and they go to 7 games. But if they don't make contact with the ball, which the Blue Jays are doing, watching the Blue Jays, they had a plan for Blake Snell, and they hit him. They had a plan for Ohtani, and they hit him. But they didn't score crazy runs. They've only scored in certain innings when they take out the starting pitcher and had to put in the bullpen, which again was suspect before the World Series. So, as a Dodger fan, we win in 7. Am I confident? We'll see tomorrow. One game at a time. Losing 5 was a bad deal. Losing the way they did was worse. And the thing about the Dodgers fans, and just a quick side note, I'm going to be a Dodgers fan forever. I've seen worse. Okay, we watched worse in the playoffs. Got to the World Series again. Am I happy they lose the World Series? No. But I'm not going to be these psycho Dodger fans that want to fire everybody. They do that every fucking year. So to answer your questions, I hope. All right, guys. This is some short, like I said, I was going to go over after 10. Thank you for showing up. If you want to support my work, I'm here on Substack, Binder 38 US on Substack. I have a paid subscription. Please, if you want, please subscribe if you like to support my work. I'm on YouTube at BinderWUS. I'm on TikTok, RJ, I believe RJ127. You can look me up. Also, if you're interested in doing a one-time donation for me, reach out to me at kumquat6 at outlook.com and I'll send you a Venmo link. But yeah, this is just a quick note, quick say to everybody to say hi. I hope you have a good rest of your night. And remember, there are more of us than there is of them. And in the next few days, they're gonna find out what happens when you starve the populace. You guys have a good night. Be safe.